It's the Kyle Hyman Show on Redeemer Radio.
This is Kyle Hyman, and joining us to talk about the St. Monica Club, how to hope, wait, and pray for your fallen away loved ones, is Maggie Green. Thanks for being with us, Maggie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Maggie Green is actually a pen name. So how did you choose the name? Does it have any symbolic meaning or significance to you? Or was it just random two words thrown together?
Well, if I tell you how I came up with the name, then you'll be able to figure out who I am. So,
We've been hearing a lot lately about people that are leaving the faith, becoming nuns, that it's happening younger and younger. But it's not really a new problem. St. Monica lived almost 1,700 years ago. Can you explain how her experience might be relatable to parents today?
yeah, so St. Monica, for those who don't know, was the mother of St. Augustine, doctor of the church. She, by her piety, by her prayers, by her witness, by her persistence, converted her husband, her mother-in-law, and her son to the faith. Her son had been in the faith and left it, and she wept for and prayed for 17 years before he returned in a big way. Mm-hmm. So she's the model for us who have children who have either left the faith or are lukewarm in their faith, the power of prayer and persistence, and of also maintaining a relationship during that time when the child is far away from the faith.
Do you think there's any danger in setting her up as the ideal, and maybe that we think that if we just pray hard enough that we will have a St. Augustine on our hands?
Well, we won't get a St. Augustine. We will get a Saint whoever it is. That's our objective. So I don't think if we use St. Monica as a model of how we are to pray and persist, that's until, she stayed with him after it happened. She didn't quit. Like, okay, you converted. I'm good. We're good. She stayed with him after that until her death. And she even said, I no longer know why I'm here because my job was to convert you. But she stayed until she died. So it's really about the nature of a relationship that it's forever. So I don't worry about that particular issue.
Sure.
That we all have that problem.
Right. So can you share a little bit of your experience with your children?
Some of my adult children have some disagreements with the church, and so they have in all seriousness said, I can't. I've had to, in all seriousness, just work with that and learn how to love them and just keep presenting to them what I know to be true by how we live and by how we treat them. And I don't get into specifics in the book because that's their wrestling with God journey to have.
Sure. Did it surprise you?
I want to say yes and then no at the same time. I know who they are, so I saw it growing. I did what normal people do when you see something that you don't agree with. I doubled down and worked harder and prayed harder, and I also, talked to them about it. I made every mistake that I talk about in the book because I was trying, and I thought, well, that didn't work. So I've come to wrestle with it, and I still cry about it at certain moments in church or in adoration, because I want them there. I want them there, but not my will, God's will, and that's a real tricky one. How does it? If God wants them there and I want them there, so we're in agreement. Mm-hmm. So why isn't it happening already? And the answer is that pesky issue of free will.
Right. Yeah, and I think it seems like there can be a danger that we blame ourselves as parents and we forget the fact that kids have free will and that we can't control everything that our kids do or our loved ones, whether it be siblings or friends or even parents, but that we shouldn't blame ourselves so much, but just really look at what can we do now about it. Is that a better way to look at it?
Yeah. Because wallowing in what could I have done differently, do self-assessment by all means so that you can make corrections on your own person of who you are and how you manifest the faith. But with respect to other people. Hand wringing is not a terribly useful or effective means of anything. It's debilitating. And so I would not spend a whole lot of time on that. Yes, you're going to go through all the stages of grief because you care about this person, and they are, as one priest very startling to me one time said, your little girl is dead, and my brain immediately said, not dead, but sleeping. And that's how I hold on to it. And so I tell you that you are going to do some hand wringing, you are going to grieve, but then you're going to remember that you love this person, and you love this person from the moment you knew they existed. And when you first held your child, they didn't have to do anything to merit everything that you had in your heart. And that's true now. And so you have to really go back to that.
Sure. So how has this had an impact on your faith?
Well, I would like to say that it's deepened it. It's taught me, one of the things that it teaches you is how to love, to imitate what God the Father loves, which is that you love, no matter how far your prodigal goes, you just spend every day looking to see if today they're coming back.
Mm-hmm. What are some practical things to do if you have somebody that's left the church or is struggling with their faith? What can we do?
Well, the first thing you honestly should do is go to your knees and go to the Blessed Mother. First things first. I cannot stress the intercession of the saints or the rosary as your best tool enough, because it does magnificent things to your soul and wonders beyond that as well. So that would be the first thing I would tell you. Mm-hmm. The second thing is to really look at all the ways in which you spend time with that person that is removing themselves from the church, and look to see how you can infuse those moments with what I would call Catholicism veiled. Little acts of love, little acts of great love, baking together, especially on the holidays, doing things that you've always done that were traditions and were moments of warmth and joy. That's what you have to manifest in the everyday. Doing the little things with great love, that is your best way to witness, and honestly, it's the most compelling. Beauty is also a fantastic way. Not saturating them. This is not I'm going to schmooze you or bribe you into believing. But in the little acts of love, which may be begun originally as symbolic, when you eventually forget yourself in the process of doing them, they become something so much more than simply the ordinary acts that you are doing. And if you are doing that with the giving, it will eventually warm the one who is receiving.
So anything that we should avoid doing?
Sharpening your rhetorical arguments like a sword. I would tell you, there are people who want to rush into intellectual combat because they see error, and there's a place for that, but I don't think it's terribly effective for winning a heart. If you've got a mind that's wrestling with it, then that's fine. You can have those kind of discussions. But particularly in family, it's never just a cerebral discussion. There's always much more below the mere intellectual entertainment of an idea than just the idea itself. So to me, and if they've grown up with you, then they know much of what you believe, particularly if you've spent time trying to teach the catechism to them through Sunday masses, Sunday breakfast, CCD, Catholic schools, morning prayers, all the things that you might have done in the course of ordinary stuff. And you should not stop doing those if they've always been part of your repertoire. And if they haven't been part of your repertoire, maybe take that leap of faith and start to pray a little more publicly, not as we're praying, but maybe you've been a little bit lukewarm in terms of how you've been willing to witness your prayers, and that's always a concern. So, that's part of the self-inventory you have to do. But continue loving this person as you've always loved this person, and continue witnessing as you've always witnessed. Just learn to do it more.
Sure. What about a situation where you may not have a whole lot of contact with the person? Either they've distanced themselves or you're just not in the same vicinity. Any suggestions on how we can help them?
Okay, well, there's two different situations. There's one where there's just no physical contact, and that's a great grief, and there you've got to really rely on the intercession of the saints and the Blessed Mother, and also, if they have connections with extended family, you can reach out through them,
Sure.
letters, or at least conveying the message, we love you, and you're always welcome at home, which is what you really need to be offering. You need to be someplace that they want to come to. So that's number one. And then there's nothing quite so quiet as a room where a person you love won't talk to you. So when you get that sort of shut out, again, I go back to doing the little things with great love. Show them you love them. Use the 5 languages of love: gift giving, time, doing something, service, touch, words. Use all of those. And when words are not working, use the other ones.
Sure.
And again, I would use that sort of physical actions to show that you love. And while it might originally feel, again, like a bribe for good behavior, the reality is that you are trying to witness to them. And again, if you infuse it, that you are doing it for them, not to make them feel something, but to show what you feel, it will trigger a response.
I have a bunch more questions about how this could affect siblings and how it might be different with children versus peers and spouses. But what I want to make sure to mention also, the book is called The St. Monica Club: How to Wait, Hope, and Pray for Your Fallen Away Loved Ones. And I understand that this has also actually become clubs where people meet up. Was that the intention whenever you wrote the book?
No, this is something which has evolved very quickly since the book was published, where people are talking about forming actual communities within their parish that meet like once a month to go to Mass and afterwards to go to dinner. And it's been proposed that, they read the book together kind of as a group, sort of like a book supper club, but with the Mass or the Rosary prefacing it. And as a result, then we eliminate one of the pains of this sort of situation, which is the feeling that I failed as a parent, I failed as a Catholic, and the isolation. When you're in the pew and there are people missing from the pew, and you see another family where it seems intact, you feel kind of like you messed up, you failed, because there are people that are not there.
Sure.
And so this has been something that has very quickly kind of generated as a result. And so I think it's the Holy Spirit tapping on people's hearts and them responding to it.
Well, like I said, there's a lot that we didn't get into, so people will just have to get a copy of the book. It's going to be a great resource for so many people that are struggling with this. Where's the best place to go to get it?
Well, you can get it at Sophia Institute Press, and you can also get it through the website that's named after a river down in South America. It's available there, and it's in Catholic bookstores, I know. So that's another place that people can get it.
Sure. Again, it's called The St. Monica Club: How to Wait, Hope, and Pray for Your Fallen Away Loved Ones. Maggie Green, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.